how many colors are there? Well, I mean, this is sort of a question like the way to answer it is just not to ask it, right? That's the only way you answer that question. I mean, no, the real answer is it's an infinity number, which is not a number. It's there's an infinity of colors because color is a spectrum, and like it's. I mean, you know all this, right? You know this. And so the question of like how many colors should we use? How many like basic colors, not shit like fucking crimson or violet. I don't know why violet gets special. I do know actually. I'm gonna get into that later. But how many? It's a linguistics question basically of how many colors there are. Because and a cultural one. This is actually kind of just a conlanging video, world building video in disguise. I apologize in advance for that. But in English, right? English, just the first language I thought of. English, you know. There are. I looked this up. There are 11 color terms. Basic color terms specifically. That's what I'm talking about here. When I say there's 7 colors, I'm talking about there are 7 basic colors that I think should exist or should be treated like they exist. Um, in English, it's black, white, red, green, yellow, blue, brown, orange, pink, purple, and gray. I mean, those just got more dicey over time, didn't they? And I guess my argument actually is that the first 7 of these 11 are the ones that we should have, and the last 4 we should get rid of. I know what you're thinking, right? Let's just go through these one by one, okay? Black, white, red, green, yellow, blue, brown. Those all stay. I like all of those. I mean, I like every. Well, I do like those more actually. But the first one I would get rid of, so to speak, is orange. I think it just doesn't occur very much in nature, which is. I mean, I know this is dicey. I know that, what are they? They're like goldfish. I don't know. Aren't goldfish like domesticated anyway? And I mean, gold is yellow. You know, gold is just a fancy word for yellow. They're the same. Yeah, I mean, orange is just. I'm gonna be referring to like in Toki Pona. Sorry, this really is a conlang video. Um, Toki Pona basically only has 5 color words. This is sort of the other end of the extreme. And see if I can remember what they are. There, Wallow is white. Pimea is black. Sorry about this. Jesus. Lasso is blue, but I'll get more into that later. Yellow. Oh, bro, it's yellow. Is yellow. And shit, what the Loye is red, right? uh those are sort of, that's like if you wanted to make the most minimal color system, that's what you would have. And I think it only needs 2 additions, which I'll get into. But basically, the way that you make other colors in this language is that you just compound those, because color is a spectrum, so you can just move from here to there, right? You can't just do that. You can just say like this is a very, I don't know, this is like a dark red, blue, and that would be like purple, basically, right? That all you've done there is you've combined the words for black or dark with the word for blue, and that modifying the word for red, right? That's because that's all that purple is, right? It's just this. I got that right. I think I've got that right. I mean, we've all learned about like how you mix colors and painting and light and stuff, right? So it's just that, but with language, it's very fun. Um, so for orange, I would do that, because I don't think orange is that important. Yes, there's orange is the fruit. The thing with this as well is that you can, you can say, basically the way you would say orange is you would say reddish yellow, or you would say yellowish red, whichever end of the spectrum it falls on. So if you really need a way to say orange, you could just, use that, right? Um, and I mean, it's not even going to be that much longer. It's gonna be fine, man. It's gonna be fine. When I come to power, this is the system that we establish. You're gonna be fine. You're gonna love it. I would be a great leader of like language. Well, the world, whatever. That's a story for another video. I'm joking. This is going off topic. Orange is red, yellow. And if you really wanted to, if you looked at an orange, you could just say, oh, it's red, right? Or you could say, oh, it's yellow, in this hypothetical language. Um, you could go, I mean, in Tokipona, right? In this real living language, Tokipona, as its speakers often insist, this is not just a hypothetical language. I have my own. I'm not a huge Tokiponist. I think it needs serious reforms. Again, story for another time. This is my first video, right? And I've got a lot to. I've been thinking about a lot of video topics and shit. So you know, there's a whole lore that needs to be built up here because you don't know me, obviously. But like, I don't just talk about colors. I'm not just this video. I'm making a video about color because it's like such a basic thing, right? Something everyone knows about. And I'm like softly autistic, so I have opinions on that sort of thing. I mean, talking about color as a topic of dinner party conversation is a bit like talking about the weather for normal people. It's just like a more autistic version of that. I mean, yeah, basically, I'm not just someone who thinks about color all day, right? This is just the first video. There's gonna be videos about basically everything and anything, okay? Or that's the idea anyway. I'm just filming this video. I haven't even edited it and uploaded it yet. This has gone off topic again. Color. I'm still on the first fucking color. I'm still on orange. Yeah, orange is just the part of the thing with eliminating color words, like eliminating orange, is that the meanings of the other color words expand, right? Because the nature of the 11 basic color words in English is that you can look at any object, anything in the universe, and well, either it's multicolored or transparent or something, but you can look at anything and you can say, oh, it's one of these 11 color terms, right? And the only difference is that if you remove some of them, is that the meanings of the other terms expand just a bit, right? They cover just a slightly larger area of the color wheel. So if you get rid of orange, you can either use a compound word like red yellow or yellow red, yellowish red. I know that sounds unnatural to us English speakers, but there are lots of languages where this is totally normal. Where that's like the MO, right? Or you can just say a one-word color, right? Just like, I mean, look around your room, right? And look at an object and like say what color it is. You're probably gonna use one of the 11 basic color words, like, oh, this is red. But then you can always get more specific. Oh, it's like a dark red, and it's a bit sort of purplish, and it's like, I guess you could call it crimson or something. For example, right? King Crimson. So orange is gone. Okay, get rid of it. Next color, pink. Okay, pink is just. I mean, that's just. I don't know. No. Just no. Pink is a lighter version of red, and it's like where does it exist in nature? I can't even think of. Probably some berry, probably some fish, because that's like every color is represented in that field. I'm right now. I can't think of an example. Leave one in the comments, right? Leave one in the comments for engagement. Okay, so pink goes, right? Purple. I don't know what it is about this area of the color wheel that gets so overrepresented. But like, for some reason, like, there's so many, like, violet, magenta, all these common words. Like in Minecraft, there are like 3 types of wool and dye or whatever that are just basically purple, and they're like I don't get why. Like, there's one. I just don't. I don't get it. People are just. I mean, I guess the thing is, I think it should be sort of reasonable bounds. I think it should be in line with nature, but people probably care more about the more, interesting colors. I mean, you've probably heard of the thing that, like, ooh, purple is the color of royalty and nobility and stuff, because it's like it was a rare dye that you needed to get from snail jizz or something, but like in medieval times. And I guess people they found that interesting, and they were like, ooh, let's come up with lots of colors. Let's come up with lots of words for this because it's interesting. Ooh, the Eskimos have 2 words for snow, whatever. So yeah, purple goes. I mean, purple is it's the same story as pink. It's just a version of red that you don't even see in nature anywhere. Okay, so orange, pink, purple, fuck them all. They go. That's already reduced English color terms down to 8. Now I'm gonna get to gray later, but first I want to go back a bit and compare. So in linguistics, if you're interested in this sort of shit, you might have heard of like, ooh, well, English has the word blue, but in Russian or in ancient Greek and old Japanese and other shit, there are two words for blue. There's dark blue, like the sea, and then there's light blue, which is like the sky, and that's all true. And basically, a lot of languages, it's kind of common for them to divide blue up into two separate words, one of which is dark blue and one of which is like light blue. Two different shades. The same way that English divides red up into fucking pink and goddamn red, which is just stupid. Purple as well. Even though they're the same. They're the same. I know this is totally vibes based. I know. I mean this is, but I mean I know this is totally cultural. It's not scientific, right? But like, I mean, the fact that I'm going against like my native language and my culture by like critiquing English, I mean that means something, right? Surely, that means I'm not just being dogmatic and like prejudiced. Surely, yeah. And another thing is that on the other end of the spectrum, rather than dividing the word for blue into two or more different basic colors, there are a lot of languages that combine blue with green. They think blue and green. That whole area of the color spectrum just gets one word. This is cycling back to my Tokipona point, right? Because in Tokipona, in the interest of reducing the amount of words to a ridiculous extent, Sonia Lang, decided to combine green and blue as well, and just to make the word lasso mean grue is what linguists call it. I mean, I guess you could call it cyan or turquoise, but grue is the term that linguists have come up with. And so you can, the color of a plant and the color of water is both lasso, it's both grue, right? For some reason, apparently blue is just a color that divides languages a lot. Some languages have one word for it, like English. Some languages have two words for it, and some languages have 0 words for blue, or which is not. I mean, that's inaccurate, but they have a word for blue that's combined with green, right? That whole area is subject to stuff, and I think it's kind of like reasonable to be like, okay, if we're making an international ideal language or whatever, which is, I guess, what I'm doing here, we should go for the middle way, the enlightened golden mean, which is just, in between, right? So instead of combining or dividing blue, we just keep blue, right? Because that's in the middle between like Russian and what's the language that uses grue? I don't actually know. Probably Hawaiian. Say, is that racist? Is that, I mean, because Tokipona has a sort of Polynesian vibe to the whole thing. So yeah, I mean, Tokipona is basically and like lots of languages. So yeah, go in the middle. Instead of dividing the whole blue-green grue area of the color spectrum into 3 colors or into 1 color, you go for 2, because that's in between, in between 3 and in between 3 and 1. Why can I not talk? Because that's in between like 1 and 3, right? That's math. So yeah, and I mean, I like that system as well because it's what I'm used to. I mean, it's what English and I wouldn't say most languages. I'll say most European languages. I'm pretty sure that's true. Not like Russian, I guess, but most European languages do that. I would say it's fairly entrenched in culture, and it makes sense to me. I mean, it's important, to separate like plants and like water, basically, which are basically what green and blue are, right? And I would say, I mean, it's also it's about like, again, I'm gonna use Tokipona as an example. Like, the way that you're supposed to disambiguate between the lasso which is green and lasso which is blue is you're supposed to say like lasso kasi, like the grew of plants to mean green, and you're supposed to say lasso telo to mean like the grew of blue, the grew of water which is blue, right? And that's not I don't really like that because there is green water, there are blue plants. It's not the most common anywhere in the world basically, so it's kind of fine. But I don't know. Separate them. I think separate them. Just do it. I mean, I don't need to explain this to you. You're an English speaker. This system is probably intuitive to you, right? Um, I mean, I think arguing about like how many colors there should be, which is what I've been doing now for I don't even know how many minutes. Jesus, I'm sorry. I hope I'm not boring you. This is my first YouTube video, man. is I'm having fun. I'm having fun. Are you having fun? Are you okay? Is God, I'm manic. Uh, I mean, this is the system that comes like intuitively to me and to you because we speak English. So whatever. Um, Black and white. I mean, people say these aren't even like. I mean, people obviously they are colors, and people say like people sometimes say, "Ooh, black's not a color. Ooh, white's not a color. It's the combination or absence of color." Blah blah blah. I mean, and that's obviously so stupid. I should not need to explain that to you. Just go away. No, I will convince you of all my opinions on this channel. This is going to be. Well, I wonder if I'll change anyone's lives. Jesus Christ, let's stay on topic for God's sake. I like again it's Tokipono. I really like what's done here, and I'm sure it's not only in Tokipono. It must be taken from somewhere. I mean, it exists in English as well to an extent, but the word for black is the exact same as the word for dark, and the word for white is the exact same as the word for light, like a light blue or something. Because what is light blue? It's just blue combined with white. It's a whitish blue, right? So something's darkness or lightness is not any different really from its blackness or whiteness. Ooh, right. It's just we just have a different word for when a color is used to modify another color than when it's used on its own for black and white. I guess, which is natural, but whatever. But I mean I like simplifying it, so because that's simple. And this brings me on to gray, right? The way that you talk about gray in languages like Tokipona is maybe a bit tricky, because gray is a really common color. I'm not going to argue like I did with orange, pink, and purple and so on that like gray isn't common enough in nature, because you have what, like you have metal. Metal is literally a basic element in like say the Chinese, the five elements, right? Alongside like earth and water and stuff. Let's not get too woo-woo, because that will alienate some of the viewership. But it speaks to the importance of that in culture. Metal can also be, of course. Metal can be gold as well, which is yellow. But like typically, like silver, right, is just gray, right? And stone, like rocks, that's gray. A lot of the time, the sky is gray rather than blue, right? Gray is very common. Even, it's common in the modern world. Ooh, gray hellscape, urban hell, right? Whatever. But it's also common in nature. Depending on the landscape, maybe more or less common, but very common. I'm looking outside right now and I see some rocks, right? And the floor here is gray, and the fridge is gray, whatever. And So gray is important. It is important. That's why I've left it until here. I think what Tokipona does, have I actually said that yet? Is it in line with my point about black and white? Is that in order to say gray, you have to say whitish black, or you have to say blackish white, or in a more normalish for English speakers, dark white or light black, which I guess can be a bit poetic, but that's that is a bit hard. That's the hardest one for me to accept intuitively, because gray is very important. But I think overall, you know, what you're going to end up with is just, if you want to say gray, you have a two-word compound. That's not too long at all, right? That's totally reasonable. You just look at something gray. That's the worst case scenario, is that you just like formalize a two-word phrase for this, which is, I mean, we do that, don't we? I mean, we that's fine. And what you get as well is a sort of, I mean, either one of these could become standard. It could become the standard to say whitish black, or it could become standard to say blackish white. But what you could say, for instance, is that there are basically two ways to say gray now, and it depends on what sort of gray it is. Is it a gray that leans more towards the dark side, or towards the light side? And so you can look at something and consider it. And that might sound like effort, but I'm sure it will come naturally to you. I mean, I'm sure there are languages which do that. And I guess you might, in a way, get it confused with other colors, like, I don't know, off-white or something. But, I mean, that is just gray already. That is gray. Whatever. I think it's fine. I don't think you need gray. I don't think gray is that important. Gray is also, it's also another color that, like, lots of languages don't have it, and it's like it develops quite late in the process of, the development of basic color words. Now let's get to brown. This is really the controversial part, I think. I'm actually sitting in a room next to a bunch of fucking cardboard boxes. Cardboard is brown, right? That's a modern thing. I understand your apprehension about that. But brown is also just really underrated in terms of how important it is in nature, in the world, on Earth. I mean, what is Earth? Earth is ground. Ground is what? It's brown, right? The Earth is brown. We think of it as the blue planet, or think of, the land area as planty and green, right? But it's what's below all that green. It's always brown, right? Unless you're in a desert or a fucking tundra, fucking polar region, then it's white, with this exception. But if you're in a desert, what is that there? You could call it yellow, right? Or you could call it sand, yes. But we're simplifying once again. You could call it yellow, but it's beige, it's khaki, it's sort of, I would call it brown, just about. So that's the entire planet is brown, right? But then what else is brown? We're brown. I'm white, of course. I mean, the way you're seeing me now actually is you're seeing me as a black, but like actually black. I realize actually this video is actually kind of appropriate as the first video on this channel. I mean, I chose it like randomly out of the list of video ideas, but like, I mean, the whole gimmick of this channel, of course, is that like I'm concealing my identity by like just doing this white background, black silhouette thing, right? So yeah, I know it's kind of appropriate. So this video is turning out to be basically a channel introduction. Oh well. It's not an important topic, is it? Fucking color. It's not exactly gonna rake the fucking views in. So yeah, brown. We're brown. People talk about black people, about white people. Sometimes we don't really talk about yellow people, about red people or whatever, right? But really, the only one of those sort of color-based racial terms for people that's actually kind of accurate is brown. I mean, the only accurate like term is brown, because everyone is brown. I'm brown, you're brown. Black people are really brown. White people are brown. Red people, yellow people are also brown. The color of a human. What we call skin color, which is, I mean, that's kind of funny, is that in English we do use one of these constructions where it's just like the color of the thing, right? Like how in Tokipon you have to say the color of the ground to say like brown, or the color of plants to say green. In English we say skin color. That's probably the most common such term that we use. And yet, there isn't one skin color, because, I mean, clearly, because we like to divide people up. based on the color of their skin into like simplified black or white, you know. Um, but everyone is brown basically. People are brown, and you know, last and least, trees. Trees are brown. Trees are very important. Wood, which we built everything out of, and you know, and there's tons of other stuff that's brown. It's really important, but mainly it's earth, dirt, maybe sand. It's human skin. Us, like our entire bodies, are brown, and yet brown. And the reason I say it's underrated, it doesn't exist in Tokipona, or it exists, but as a like new neologism, right? Kapesi, um, which I don't totally like, but that's for other reason. Um, brown gets treated. I mean, brown also means boring, right? It means beige. I mean, I do like brown. I think it's underrated, but I still think it's kind of like gay to say that like your favorite color is beige or something. That's still weird. I mean, who does that? That's weird as hell. And yeah, I wouldn't do that. But that's still fucking weird. Um, yeah, brown is really important. It deserves to be here. And well, the other reason, other than just its importance in nature, is just that it's otherwise quite hard to form a word for this. Because what you have to say in Tokipon is you have to say the color of the the ground or earth, which doesn't work. Especially, it doesn't work in Tokipona because the word for ground is also the word for like place and country and land and a million other things. But it doesn't work because the ground is different colors, right? I mean, I know I know I just said like the color of the ground is brown, but it's not a contradiction. It's a tendency, right? But it doesn't mean it's good enough to make a color term. So yeah, and you either have to say that or you have to say something like what would it be? You have to say loye yellow pimea, which basically means like dark orange. I mean, the word for orange, I've already said why it's not important. The word for orange shouldn't be shorter than your word for brown. I mean, it isn't in English, and it is in Tokipona. It's just not right. It's not. It's wrong. It's not correct. It's messed up. I mean, I think if you need three words to describe something that is a basic color term in other languages, that's where I'm just arbitrarily sort of drawing the line, right? Say if you're a speaker of my hypothetical system and you're used to the Russian like dark light distinction of blue, right? Well, you can just say, you can just use two words, dark blue or black blue it would be, or white blue. And so it's a simple sort of roughly, I mean, colors are subjective, of course. They're not just culturally subjective, but individually, I mean, certain people will look at the dress and say it's gold and white or it's black and blue. Ha ha ha. No, that's sort of an extreme example, but you can look at like something that's navy, and some people say it's blue, and some people say it's black. Um, and yeah. See, I think if you need three words to characterize something that is that basic in some languages, then it shouldn't be the way it's done in your language. You need brown. You need it. So what do we end up with? We end up with 7 colors. I think I've gone through all of them. Black, white, red, green, yellow, blue, brown. Saying it again. Um, so we end up with 7. Now 7, that's already a number with some weight, right? I mean, 7 is one of these religious numbers. It's like, I mean, there are 7 sins. There are 7, for some reason. I can't think of that many examples, but you've probably heard of 7 being like an important number. Especially, I mean, this is childish, obviously, but it was in the Harry Potter books a lot. Um, but it comes from somewhere. It's just an idea in culture, wherever it manifests. That's just proof it exists, right? It exists outside of that. It wasn't invented for that. 7 is a nice number. It's nice. It's 4 plus 3. 4 times 3 is 12, which is another number that's sort of associated with holy stuff. 12 disciples. There's the word dozen in English. There's people who like dozen. There are 12. Lots of things come in 12. 12 months. Blah blah blah. 7, particularly in the field of color, though, has a bit of basically in the colors of the rainbow, the Roygebiv system. Boards of Canada, the red. I mean, this also just gets worse over time, right? I think this is stupid. This whole video is basically made to just point out how stupid this is. Red, orange, yellow, I cannot remember it, green, blue, indigo, and violet. Orange, fine, right? Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, good so far. Indigo. Now, indigo, that's 3 syllables. You made this up. It's a borrowed word. Basically, I think, who was it that came up with this shit? I want to say it was Newton. He popularized it, but I don't want to embarrass myself. It was like someone specific in history, in like, I want to say the 1600s or something. Sorry, I'm stupid. Indigo is basically, the only reason we even think of that as like possibly a kind of basic color is because it was invented for use in this Roygebiv thing, right? Richard of York gave battle in vain. It's like, it's not like indigo is like a dye or something, and it's like kind of like what is the difference between blue and indigo? It's like just a dark blue. What's the difference between indigo and purple? It's just like it's not a thing. It's made up. It's fake. It is not like, you can use it. You can say indigo, right? You can say magenta. You can say fuchsia. You can say khaki. You can say all your fancy gay little made up color words, right? Do what you like. That's all just good prose and stuff. But like, there's just no, it's going way too far to like call that a basic word that everyone should know or something, or to treat it like naturally the colors of the rainbow come with indigo of all things as a fucking color. Then there's violet. I mean, you could have just said purple, and even then I would have disagreed with you. I mean, this is fake. I mean, it's also, if you look at a rainbow, right, there aren't actually 7 strands of color on it. There are more like 6, basically. The only reason it was made 7 is it was like a religious decision. It was a theological necessity, because of this aforementioned thing about 7 being an important number for religion cross-culturally and so on, right? I think if you want 7 colors, use the system I've got. Or use the objective best system, which just happens to be the one that I am. It's not my system. I'm sure, I may not be the best person to lay out the full argument. Clearly not. But this is just what I'm sort of preaching to you. It's just indigo and violet. It's totally wrong. It's rubbish. It's stupid. If you really need, let me look up a rainbow. If it works. It's just like, it's red. It's red, yellow, green. Green is kind of small. Light blue and then dark blue, or dark blue kind of purplish. This kind of, of course, there's a bit of orange between the red and the yellow, but that's what I see instantly. Wait, let's look at Pink Floyd. Because there it's actually on the dark side of the moon. There it's actually clearly done with different things. Even here, lads, they don't use this indigo made up bullshit. It goes red, orange, yellow, green, some sort of blue, and then some sort of purple, right? So this 7th thing, this Roygebiv thing, I think you learned this in science class. God, school sucks. Like, it's just wrong. It's just wrong. It's not accurate to the rainbow. It's not accurate to how it's used in culture, like on the fucking dark side of the moon cover. It's not. This is, Roygebiv is a fun Boards of Canada song. It's fun, mnemonic, Richard of York cave battle in vain, but it needs to go. I'm afraid it's an outdated idea. We should no longer teach that to anybody. So what is my point with this stuff? We have 7 colors. That matches the classical scheme of there being 7, 7 being a nice number, and 7 being Roy Gabiv, right? Instead, in this case, it would be or something. Or you could maybe arrange it. I mean, the only thing that even comes close to a vowel there is yellow. Even that is, I mean, it's not a vowel in there. It's fine. You don't need that. I mean, the system will be so intuitive. You won't need a pissing mnemonic to remember that shit. The point is, I guess, I mean, I'm someone who, for some reason, still kind of cares about the unfashionable idea of an international language. No, I'm not an Esperantist. I'm not an international language, but sort of an ideal philosophical language. I think it's kind of a neat idea. I don't know if it will actually. It's not feasible at all, ever, really, right? And it's unclear how exactly it will make science easier or anything like that. And there's that great essay title, I haven't read it, it's called like Towards a Real Character and a Perfect Language, or whatever it's called. Or a logical language, or philosophical language. This is one of those ideas that sort of existed in like the late second millennium. Sorry, I'm showing. It existed in like the early modern sort of philosophy and so on, where there was the idea of creating a perfect language, and these days it's proven to be kind of impossible. And I get it's impossible, but that doesn't mean we can't make our language more perfect. You know, we can't do gradual reform, or we can't just have fun, right? I mean, this is like arguing over like which number base is the best. It's just good fun, I think. 7 is what this language should use. It should use these 7 colors. These are the ones that you need for the reasons I've laid out. I guess I'm doing an in conclusion right now. You know, it's just the vibe of the thing. It's the importance of these colors in nature, in culture. It's the trends across languages. It's the ease of saying these. It's not totally scientific. I mean, this is just reasonable. I guess you could do research about like which color words people tend to use most or something like that. Final points, I guess, is that I think this system has some precedent. If anyone knows a natural or constructed, for that matter, who gives a shit, language which uses this exact system, because I'm not aware of one, really. I mean, it should exist. I think my version of Tokipon, I think, uses this, or maybe I think I still have lasso, meaning both green and blue. I know that there is a word for green, but off topic. If anyone knows a language which uses this system of these 7 colors, please put it in the box, on the box, and tell me about it. But it seems totally natural to me. You could start using this in English. I'm not telling people to start doing shit like that. It would be quite a subtle change. It wouldn't be like doing a fucking reintroducing the thorn bullshit that some people do, or Anglish. I mean that stuff is much dumber than this, I think. Maybe I'll make a video about that someday. Yeah, but I mean I am aware of one language which uses this 7 color system, and it's a language I was involved in the construction of. I don't know, it's a constructed language. Oh, I'm sorry. For some reason, conlanging is a really embarrassing thing for people. I don't know. I mean, I don't entirely get it, but also another video idea. They're just coming. You know, it just ends. I'll put them in the thing, annotation, whatever. It's like a language that we made on a Discord server. Oh god. Well, I'm here making a fucking YouTube video about colors. You know, I'm a loser. Whatever. And in that language that we make on that Discord server, there we have these 7 color words, and that's something that developed quite naturally. I mean, it wasn't because of my influence or my argumentation. I mean, this happened before I even came to this opinion. I don't think I was influenced that much by this language. I was mostly influenced by Tokipona and the deficiencies or the sort of things that are too simple in that system, right? Too ambiguous. And yeah, it's the exact same system. We have 7 color words or something like it, and then we have words for orange, and they're derived from the words for red and yellow and stuff. And I didn't come up with that system. Other people came up with it, I think. So I mean, I don't remember. So there's some amount of precedent. I mean, that's not really an experiment. It's some fucking conlang idiots on a fucking Discord server, but it's some sort of. I obviously need a better example. I mean, I need someone to send a Papua New Guinean language that like uses this exact system or something. I'm fairly confident that some natural language somewhere must use this exact color system. I think so, right? I think so. I just can't think of one. It's probably more obvious than I think. Um, have I got anything else to say? No,